We're live.
Oh. Whoops.
We live?
Yeah, we're live.
Is it live? Is it live? Run DMC. Thanks again for checking out another edition of Dead End Sports. Welcome to the show. This is the YouTube channel. I am the host, 12 Kyle, joined by my partners, Beezy, Ken, and FIFO is on the way, as usual. This is the place where the sports opinions collide. We want to thank you for checking us out. We're here each and every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you raw and uncut, our take on the sports of the week that was and any hot button issues in and around the arena of sports. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, not as much time to cover it, but we're going to do our best. Before we get the show started, let me kick it off by saying a big what up, though, to my boy Beezy. Beezy, what up, though?
What up, though? What's good? What's going on, everyone? Thank y'all for watching, tuning in, and watching us talk sports and act silly and shit.
No doubt, Ed. What's going on, my man Ken?
Hey, what's good, Kyle? Hey, everybody. Look, I put in some work over the weekend, so make sure you guys go check out Q and Ryan talking about basketball. 3 different shows that you guys can listen to. One, they were talking about the streak, the Celtics winning the streak. So Ryan was really, really gushy over that. So you can listen to him, cry tears of joy about the streak. The D'Angelo Russell show as well is a really good one. Q has some very strong opinions about how the reporting and the opinions were on that one. So you want to check that out too. And then they just talk about NBA trades. No, not trades. Draft picks. So that's an interesting listen if you have time and got something to listen to. So check them out, man. They're all 3 really good episodes. They do a really good job. So they're on the channel. You can also subscribe to subscribe to the podcast. It's in iTunes, so you can get it right when it comes out because it's on a tape delay on the YouTube channel. And then follow them on Twitter at Off the Bench, and that's it. Other than that, man, everything is good.
No doubt.
Ready for basketball playoffs and trying to capture this. Fantasy baseball kicked off this week for us too.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my title that I so rightfully deserved last year.
Oh, and there was a title that was won last night. And we're not talking about what happened on the court, and we'll get to that in a little while. But once again, thanks everybody for tuning in and checking us out. You should be, if not, you should be streaming us live on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dead End Sports. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, subscribe to us on all the socials. We're on Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You name it, you can find us there. Again, this is the place where sports opinions collide. So tonight, man, like I said, we're going to get it started. Let's start right where last night ended, man. Final 4, the national championship game, Villanova versus North Carolina. My man Kris Jenkin hits the walk-off 3-point shot, closes it out at the buzzer. B, give me your take on what you saw last night.
Crazy. I think would have made this shot a lot more epic. Not saying that it wasn't, but like if they were down by 2, and they came down, and he took, because the game was tied, so it wasn't that much of a ballsy move because it's like if you miss a shot, okay, they're going to overtime.
Right.
But like if they was down by 2. And you take you make a gutsy call to like shoot the 3-pointer, and not even go for the 2-pointer for the tie, but shoot the 3-pointer for the all-in-all win. I think that would have made that shot like way even more epic than before. But I thought it was this is I think I said this the week before last because I don't think we was on. We was on for a second, right, Ken? I forgot we was on for like a brief minute, for like about 30 minutes or whatever. But I said my only thing going into this Final Four was I hope that. That the championship game is well worth is worth the watch. I hope the Final Fours don't be more exciting than the actual championship game. And it was exactly what I would wish. Like the Final Four games was blowouts, and the championship game was like bam, down to the wire, because when Villanova was like up by like I think like 10 or 11 with like 3 minutes left to go. I'm like, okay, this game about to be over. I'm like, Villanova about to coast, and you know they about to go ahead and just and nip it in the bud. But Carolina was fighting. When my man made that wacky three,
crazy.
well, yeah, I was like, oh, that's like some luck stuff right there, because my man was dead in his face and he had to like double pump in the air and still get the shot off before his feet touched the ground, and that bad boy hit the bottom of the net. I was like, oh my god. So, and then they coming down. At that point, I'm like, overtime. We about to be in overtime. So I'm like, man, this is a heck of a championship game to go in overtime. And that's, you know, my man boom, threw it behind him. My man was trailing. And, like, he wasn't, like, right behind the three-point line. He was, like, about a good, like, 2.5, 3 feet behind the three-point line before he sized that bad boy up. And, yeah, it went in, man. But overall, I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a great championship game. Had me on the edge of my seat for most of the time. And, you know, to end it with a game-winning shot at the buzzer like that, yeah, it was epic. And it was funny because you look at the coach. He's just like, you know, he's like, you can see his reaction when he made the shot. And he just walking over to you know, I guess to shake Roy Williams' hands, and I think everything was happening so fast for him. Because you know, normally you would see a coach saying, "Yeah, celebrate."
Right.
Because I think it just happened so fast, he probably didn't even know how to react. So that's what just looking at that, and of course they showed Jordan's reaction, and Jordan like, you know, they showed Michael Jordan giving him props, like, you know, that's a good shot. You can clearly read his lips. He's saying that was a good shot. Like damn, that was you know, game recognized game. So. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really entertaining game. I'm glad it lived up to where my expectations of a national championship game should be. So hey, I was happy.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Ken? What was your take on last night's national championship game?
Hey, B, I love Jay Wright's reaction.
Yeah.
When they showed it, I was like, dang, is that before or after the shot? But he was so cool. He was so cool with it, man. And I don't know if it was necessarily moving too fast. To me, I looked at it like he just walked off. He was like, "Shit, I'm that. Excuse me, y'all, but I'm that nigga though." Like, what y'all saying?
I think it was happening too fast, man. I think it was happening too fast for him.
You know, I mean, this is what I do, you know, but it's not what he does. But yeah, man, I loved his reaction, man. I thought it was dope. Nah, he was just too cool for it, B. He was too cool to be all jumping up and down, man. I loved it, man. But overall, I think the game. Well, first, let me say this. I know UNC fans feel a certain kind of way after that first half. The officiating in that game was suspect, and it tends to be that way. And you guys help me out with this, but it seems like in championship games we always end up saying that. Like the officials always seem to kind of butt in. Because they were calling a lot of touch fouls, and they almost really messed up what ended up being a good game. Now, they eventually got out of the way towards the end of about 10 minutes in, maybe a little less than that, and they eventually let them play. But I think when the second half started and Meeks was called for a couple of fouls, and you know, North Carolina was turning the ball over. They really got out of rhythm, and they got overly emotional and started reacting emotionally to, you know, some of the calls that were not going their way. And it took them a little bit out of rhythm. And Villanova just came with it. And you knew if you saw Villanova play any of the times they played in any of the previous games, you knew they were going to come and make a run. And no matter what North Carolina did, they could not put them away. And Villanova just kept hanging around and hanging around and hanging around. And every time you thought North Carolina was about to run with it, they'll either do something crazy, like when you got the ball, you cause a turnover, and you're on a fast break, a one on whoever fast break. It was like 3 Villanova players trailing. It would make sense just hold it for. But no, Justin Jackson went and tried to score, and it got blocked, and it turned into a points for Villanova. Momentum swing. And then from there, Villanova, once they got themselves together and composed, they were not missing. Like, they were on fire, man.
Right,
and they were making all the big plays. And North Carolina, they just were out of sync. And at some point, it just looked like they were gonna just wilt away and lose. And that was the North Carolina team that I saw in games this year. And then Marcus Page happened. And I tweeted this. I said, is Page or bust? Because that was the only way they stood a shot. They had a chance of winning that game was Marcus Page. And he did it against Texas A&M.
Right.
And that's just kind of what he does, man. He has these moments where he just impacts and takes over the game. And he did. And that shot he hit, he is clutch when he needs to be clutch. And that shot he hit, the first one he hit from the corner, to cut it to 2, I think, or 3. And then but the double clutch shot, come on, man, that's unbelievable. And it really added to the moment. Because if we didn't get that shot, we wouldn't have had Jenkins' shot to just basically seal it. And it's a tough way for North Carolina to go out. But for all of us, I didn't have a dog in this race, so I didn't care either way. I thought it was great from Villanova's standpoint, from a college basketball standpoint, for them to win one. They haven't won it in years, right? It's been some time. So I thought that was good. But as a fan, as a spectator, as a person that just wanted to watch a good game, outside of the officiating, which was frustrating at times, it was a great game, and it was a spectacular finish. And just like I said, Page has to win the game for them. For me, the 2 people that needed to take the shot, and I tweeted this as well, it had to be Hart or it had to be Jenkins. And I don't know what North Carolina was thinking in not covering the inbounder, but he just literally jogged up the court unattended until he got the ball, and by then it was too late. He stepped into that, and it was a wrap, man. It was a great game, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. And even though Marcus Page's shot was in a loss, it's still going to go down as one of the greatest shots in basketball history, considering college basketball history, considering the moment and what was at stake, and to put his team in a position, if they would have gotten a defensive stop, to possibly win in overtime, man. I mean, you got to salute that brother, man. He showed his ass in the last couple of minutes of that ball game.
No doubt, no doubt. And the 4th member of the crew, our boy FIFO. FIFO, what's going on, Playboy?
Yo, what's good, Kyle?
Chilling, man. What's your take on last night, man?
I caught the tail end of Ken, and I think, everything is right in the world because I disagree with a couple things he was saying. I think that what I saw was a game that was back and forth. No team had more than a 10-point lead the entire game. So anytime any team made a run, the other team reeled the other team right back in. And it was seesaw the entire way. To me, Villanova felt like they had the majority of momentum. It felt more like Villanova's game. But I'm going to tell you why. Because Bryce Johnson was not aggressive. Bryce Johnson was going to be the difference in that game, and he was not. His presence was not felt. There was a lot of times where I forgot he was on the court. And when you are the dominant big, when you are a dominant player on the court, your presence has to be known. And you saw he was frustrated. A couple of times he went to the sidelines and he was screaming, at teammates. I'm not sure if he was getting into it with coaching personnel as well. But what I saw was somebody that needed to impact the game a little bit more. And we know, especially in college when you're young, you don't necessarily get the big men involved in the tournament. That's why you always need guard play. Of course they needed Marcus Page. Of course they needed those other guys, Joe Barry. They needed those other guys to get in position to win. But Bryce Johnson needed to be a bigger factor defensively and offensively. I felt that he didn't make enough game-changing plays to really have his presence felt. But as a spectator, great damn game. Great damn game. I don't think you could have scripted it any better. If you were to write a Cinderella story or a story of back and forth, man, like this is exactly what you would have penned. And shout out to Villanova, and I can't say the dude's name, but the white boy, the leading scorer for the squad.
Archie.
Huh?
They call him Archie.
Okay. Archie, that dude, man, that dude is nice. He hit big shot after big shot. He controlled the tempo of the majority of the game. He had a
Come off
couple shots.
for Nova.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Nova. Number 15, DiBianchi or something weird.
Archeo, not Nettie.
Yeah, I just call him Archie for short.
Something
Okay,
like that.
him. He was super nice. He's been nice. To me, he's their engine. They go as he kind of goes. He was aggressive, and you felt his presence. You felt his presence. You felt Marcus Page at times. The guys from North Carolina, I don't know. It felt like they were just in the game. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like they were like they took advantage of every opportunity. It just seemed like they were just playing. That's why it was kind of seesaw. But Villanova just felt like they kind of knew they were gonna win. But I didn't know who the hell was gonna win. Obviously, I'm off. Don't necessarily listen to me about college basketball because I said I didn't like Villanova and they freaking blew out Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not the one to really ask about college basketball in that regard. But at the end of the day, this is what a championship game is supposed to be. Back and forth, last second shot. And to Ken's point, man, they didn't cover the inbounder. He kind of walked into that three. To UNC's point, man, it was a far three. It wasn't like he was right on the line. It was kind of a far three. College kids can make that, maybe not at a high rate, but I didn't expect it to go in. But at the end of the day, great game. It's unfortunate that somebody in sports always has to lose because UNC did play a really good game.
I think you also have to give Nova a lot of credit for impacting Carolina's bigs because that was the one advantage that they did have. And there were times when the Archie, the white boy was down there covering, face guarding, fronting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bryce Johnson.
Yeah.
And the guards could not get him the ball. So I understand
talk about that
what
too.
you're saying because Bryce Johnson was frustrated. He was frustrated with some of the fouls, and then, like you say, he was, and it was very visible. But they could not get any of their bigs the ball down low, and that falls on the guards, man. And the guards played big in the first half, and even sometimes even when they did get it down low, man, Nova was swarming and damn near blocking everything they threw up.
But you know what?
Or impacting the shot.
I agree with you, but you have to make a concerted effort, especially when it's an advantage, when that's your advantage. And Marcus Page to me did not penetrate enough in that first half. You say like there were times where because is he the quote unquote point guard? Because a lot of times Joe Barry was handling the rock, and a lot of times Marcus felt like he was the two guard. And realistically, they didn't get a lot of penetration, but whenever Marcus penetrated, great things happened. He got a lot of kickouts to Joel. They got a couple of lobs. They got a couple interior passes. I'm just saying, for me, just watching it as a coach, as a player, I know I need to get my bigs the rock.
Oh my God! Oh,
I gotta get my bigs the rock, man. And it's just at the end of the look, man. It was a great game. At the end of the day, it was a great game. I don't think that you can really lay too much blame on either side if either team would have won. At the end of the day, them boys played hard. Obviously, nobody plays a perfect game, except for Villanova against Oklahoma. Them boys shot almost 72%. That's damn near perfect. But outside of it, come on, man. Like it was a great game. It was a great game. I just feel like it should have been more of an effort to make sure Bryce Johnson was an impact on the game. That just for me, I felt like if he was more of an impact, that would have been the difference in the game.
I think it's first and foremost. I mean, you guys made some great points. I think one of the things that stood out to me was, and we're gonna go back to the final shot. But I think if you had come into this game and we had said that North Carolina, if I told you before the game, before tip-off, that North Carolina would make an NCAA record, championship game record, 11 three-pointers in the game, you'd say, okay, well, they're going to blow them out. But they didn't. I mean, like, I think they were like 11 from 17 from three-point range. North Carolina, that was one of those games that you hated that somebody had to lose. Unfortunately, somebody had to lose. But I thought Villanova kept the pace where they wanted it to be. They knew that they couldn't get into a run and gun situation with them. I think, and somebody, my man KT in the chat room mentioned it about the officiating. The officiating was bad. And I don't necessarily – I think it really kind of rattled North Carolina in the first half. I think the calls kind of evened out in the second half, but it was bad on both ends. And it wasn't so much a bad call that it was just these little ticky-tack. I mean, like, you touch a guy and it's a foul. The refs weren't letting them play. And I think it's hard to – and you guys know from playing basketball, it's hard to get in a rhythm if you – I mean, like, at one point, there was 8 consecutive calls against North Carolina. I mean, 8 consecutive – blown whistles. You know, that's frustrating as hell. And there were at least 3 or 4 times that I counted where Villanova would get the ball late in the shot clock. I mean, under 5 seconds and North Carolina get called for a foul. That's demoralizing. If you play defense for almost the entire shot clock and then you get whistled for a foul and it's sideline out of bounds or you're shooting free throws, that's demoralizing. But credit Villanova for keeping the pace where they needed it to be. They weren't going to change that at all. They knew that they couldn't afford to, speed up the game or anything like that. And the game never really felt, to me at least, it never really felt like North Carolina had a grasp of it, at least the way that they wanted to, or at least the way that they did Saturday against Syracuse.
Kyle, real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the refs. And
Go ahead.
In sports in general, I feel like the offense has too many advantages. It's not fair for the defense. Football, basketball, those are the 2 sports I primarily watch. They like the defense. It's almost you can't play defense. And the thing is, a lot of times when I saw Bryce Johnson had got a foul, his hands was up, moving his feet. And the offensive player initiated the contact, and they call a foul on the defense. What am I supposed to do? I don't like where sports, professionally, college, I don't like where it's going because it's too offensive. There's 2 sides to any ball that you play. There's an offense, and there's always going to be a defense. I do not like how they are making the offensive players have advantages. As a defender, you have to be able to feel me. You have to feel my contact because as an offensive player, how are you able to initiate contact? And as a defender, I cannot. That's not fair. That is not fair.
And that's a good point because, again, they never really were able – and both teams, I think, kind of suffered from that in the first half. They could not – get into a rhythm, and it's like you said, FIFO, the game is set up, and we see it in basketball, we definitely see it in football. The game is set up for the offenses to succeed because I think that's why a lot of people, at least casual fans, tune in. But I thought it was a well played game. It was probably the second best finish that I've ever seen as far as college. I think the only one probably that I would rank slightly higher was North Carolina State's win over Houston in '84. Many of you probably weren't even born by then, but that's another story for another day. But that finish last night was incredible. Speaking of which, let's go to the finish. I've heard people talk about the fact that they blame Roy Williams for not putting someone on the ball. Now, keep in mind, Chris, I think his last name, Hicks, he gets a hand in Kris Jenkins's face. The Hicks kid gets a hand in his face, but that wasn't his man. Kris Jenkins, the guy who took the shot, his man is actually Bryce Johnson, who was in the paint. Now, keep in mind, there's only 4 seconds left. And North Carolina had all the momentum coming off the crazy double clutch shot that Bryce Johnson took to tie the ball game at 74.
Page.
I'm sorry, Marcus Page. So my question is, and I'll start with you, B. Do you blame Roy Williams, or what do you think they should have done? Or if you're Roy Williams, what could you have done differently? Or is there anything that you could have done differently?
I mean, because they fought back into the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought Roy Williams was kind of giving up once they was down by like damn near 10 with 3 minutes left to go. I'm like, but the way they fought back, I mean, you know, I don't know. I can't really say if it's the coach's fault or just the players just really dug in and didn't want to give up. But I mean, I don't think he could have redone anything really different. I was just hoping that they was gonna still have that same defensive intensity that they'd have in the and I told Ken this, if they play with that the way they play defense against Virginia in the ACC championship game, if they that defensive intensity throughout the whole tournament, I thought UNC was gonna be fine. And for they showed quick glimpse of that, but they didn't keep that intensity, that team defense intensity up the whole entire game. I think that was a downfall. But other than that, I don't think he could have really did anything like really different. You know, I thought it was just a really good game.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Ken, what about you? As far as that last sequence, do you have any fault with Roy Williams or North Carolina, or how do you see that thing playing out?
In hindsight, we can easily look at it and make this call. I can tell you what I was thinking when the play was developing. I saw Archie dribbling the ball up the court, and in my head I was like, "Where's the trailer?" And I kept thinking, like, where's the guy with the ball? Because it seemed like everybody converged on him. And like I said earlier, the guy, Jenkins just really dripped. He just literally walked into that shot. And Archie said that normally he takes that shot. That play, I think, is designed for him in some kind of way. And I didn't really hear the full quote. But he just saw Jenkins, he was open, and he passed it. And he had confidence in him, and he nailed it. I just thought the defender, and maybe it's not necessarily on because they have 4 seconds to get the ball up the court.
Right.
So it would have been nice to see, a North Carolina player that's down there recognize that and go up and try to pick him up before he could step into the shot. And by the time the guy reacted to the shot, it was too late. He had already stepped into it. He had a good look. He had a clean look. He probably was measuring the shot on his way up anyway. So all he needed to do was get the ball, catch, shoot, and release. And that was it. The only criticism I have of the shot is that I would have preferred he would have posed a little bit better than he did.
Put the English in it, man.
Yeah, like hit us with the Jordan, man. Walk away from it. Like you hit us with the curve. Like turn around and walk away from the shot. Throw your hands in the air. You know, don't just. He hit us with the LeBron. Remember LeBron hit that shot against San Antonio?
Yep.
Kind of leaned over to look to see if it went in. He gave us the LeBron, man. Nah, give us that Jordan or hit us with that Curry. You know, hey, that was the only thing I could critique about his shot. But it's college, man. I think that in the heat of the moment, at that moment, a critical moment, they just slipped up. And I if I was Roy Williams, I would have, told them to really just like, look, guys, we need to make sure they don't get a shot off, or it's going to be a shot that that they can cover. Yeah, contest the shot. That was it. That's all they needed to do. And he got a clean look, and it didn't work out for him.
What about you, FIFO? That last sequence, I mean, you coached, you played the game. Anything that you would have done, and I mean, of course, like Ken said, hindsight's 20/20. Anything you would have done differently, or you think they could have done differently?
Oh yeah, be more aggressive. Be more aggressive. I think overall, that's the one thing that kind of summed up UNC in that championship game. They were just aggressive enough to compete and to have an opportunity to win, but they weren't the aggressors. Villanova were the aggressors. I'm an aggressive coach. So for me, I'd have been like, yo, if you can't smell his bad breath, when you inbounding this ball and they're bringing this up, then you're not playing defense. I need you to be all up in every single person. Do not foul. Play tough. You know what I'm saying? Because When Marcus Paige hit that three, what did that do? Did it tie the game or did it put him up?
That tied the game.
That
So
tied the game.
So if Kris Jenkins doesn't hit this three, we're going in overtime. With North Carolina with the momentum.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I just would have had them just play aggressively against everybody. They're gonna need to take more time. Like he almost walked into that shot.
He did.
And that cannot happen, especially when you're coming full court. So for me, I would have just had more of an aggressive press. I would have pressed them. I would have made it difficult for them to inbound the ball. You just wouldn't have got that look. If you would have made it, it would have been a Marcus Paige type shot. Double clutch over somebody. Like it would have been tough. You would have earned it more.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't really, and I know Roy Williams is taking a lot of criticism. He admitted in the post-game press conference that, that they should have had it because, ironically, Kris Jenkins is Villanova's best three-point shooter, percentage-wise. And like FIFO said, he walked into that shot. I mean, like, for all the shots, and you got to give Villanova a lot of credit because, for one, I think one of the things that stood out to me last night about the game was that Villanova shot a very high percentage, and they took a lot of tough shots. I mean, like, that shot that Kris Jenkins took last night probably was the easiest shot that anybody else took. They took a lot of shots with guys hanging on them, hands and faces and stuff like that, and they were making them. And I mentioned in the chat room a few minutes ago on our live stream on youtube.com/deadendsports, I mentioned the fact that people forget Phil Booth, a guy by the name of Phil Booth, comes off the bench and scores a career-high 20 last night. So, every year and in every championship game, there's always one or two guys that step up that you're not even planning for. And I know that there's a game plan on every player, but Roy Williams, they didn't have an answer for a Phil Booth, a guy who comes off the bench and gives you 20 that you're not even expecting to get. And one more thing before we move off the national championship game, and something Ken I think touched on a little earlier. Bryce Johnson, obviously, is their presence down low. There were several times during the second half where there was a high-low situation where they could not and you guys tell me if you saw this. I don't know if Villanova guards couldn't see him or they just couldn't get him the ball, but he was matched up against a much smaller guy. Like at one point, the point guard was fronting him. Archie was fronting him. So all you got to do is lob it over the top inside to him. Why didn't North Carolina start going towards that? Because it looked like they weren't trying to throw the ball inside. And I understand if your shots are falling outside, I can understand why taking those shots, but their strength is inside.
Of course. Villanova, they mixed up their defense a couple of times. They were going from like a man to like a 3-2 matchup type of zone thing. And when they were doing that zone and they had their guards fronting their bigs down low, you got to understand that there's help on the backside of that.
Okay.
So even if you lob it, by the time he catches it, he has a man in his face if he catches it. Because 9 times out of 10, that's a steal, a deflection. That's a tough pass, even though the guy that's fronting him is a smaller guy, because you still got to get it over the top. So trust me, as a point guard, when I was a young point guard, I would see those scenarios and feel like I can force that ball there.
Okay.
And believe you me, I've had a lot of turnovers forcing that ball. That's not an easy entry. And again, to me, that's part of the rules in college basketball that I do not like, because you do not allow a guy like Bryce Johnson to expose mismatches like that, because you allow other defenders to be in the paint for as long as they want. So that's just my gripe. At times, yes, they could have gave him the ball, but at the same time, Bryce has to work.
Okay.
When they're fronting you like that and you know that they have this matchup zone thing happening, spin off of him. Make him play on your backside. You know what I'm saying? And then to me as well, Roy Williams has got to switch it up some. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I always say basketball is checkers and chess. Chess is what you instill, what's your identity at the beginning of the season. Checkers are the adjustments you have to make based off of what the team is doing to take away your best players. I don't think Roy did enough in-game adjustments to ensure his best players got the rock when they needed to, or he didn't light a fire. Well, I think Bryce Johnson had the fire, obviously up under his behind, but he couldn't manifest it into anything. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
I think Roy has a bit, a part in this. Obviously, you're the head coach; you have to take some of the blame. But honestly, I'm gonna give him the majority of the blame. Guard, secondary, and then I think Bryce is third. He has to move a little bit more. Roy got to figure some things out. You gotta get your guys the rock. You just have to. That's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. To me, when I coached, my best guys had the rock. I made sure they got the rock. Hey, timeout. What are we doing here?
Right.
Get him the ball. Move the hell out. Get him the rock. I didn't understand.
No doubt, no doubt. And we saw that happening a lot last night. One more story on the national championship game from last night. It was a story that was very much talked about. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on it. As many of you know, North Carolina had a player on their team, Nate Britt, and his brother, not his biological brother, but his brother, hit the game-winning shot for Villanova, Kris Jenkin. So you had Britt on North Carolina and Kris Jenkins on Villanova. They asked Nate Britt about how he felt about it. And for those who don't know the story, Britt and Jenkins were AAU teammates back in D.C. growing up, and Jenkins had like a hard background. He actually, they bonded as friends, and one thing led to another, and he came and lived with them, and his parents subsequently adopted him. So again, they are brothers legally. So Britt got asked about, what did he think about? I mean, you lose the national. Not only do you lose the national championship game, but your brother hits the game-winning shot. He said, basically in the post game, he said you could see it happening. He said when I saw him trailing, he said I knew he was getting the ball, and I knew he would probably knock it down. Ken, if your brother hit the game-winning shot on you, how is that going to play out in your house when you go to your mama's house?
Ken, you on mute. Unmute yourself.
Hey, you kind of broke up on me. Yeah,
Okay.
You broke up on me. What was that?
I said if your brother hit the game-winning shot on you, how is that going to go over when you go to your mama's house?
Oh, it's not going to go over well at all. Not at all, man, because my brother barely beat me in anything. I mean, every dog has his day, but no,
Right.
not at all, man. You'll never be able to live that down, and it'll just be one of those things, man. So it wouldn't be pleasant. I'll tell you this: I would try to beat him down in everything we played from that moment on. I'll make sure that I win, but.
Yeah, but you beat him.
You
beat him in Madden. Don't count. He got a ring. He won against your team.
He got bragging rights for life, Ken. 'Cause
Exactly.
even if you beat him in Madden, so look at his ring, though.
Look at his ring.
Look at his ring.
Kiss
though.
the ring.
What you gonna do with that? Ain't nothing you can do with that, Ken.
I could beat him up. But real quick, real talk though. It looks like a lot of the players on Villanova had a hard life. There was some grown ass looking men on that team.
Yeah. What about you, B? If your brother hit the game-winning shot like that, man, how's it gonna go over in your pop's house?
Oh, it's not gonna go over. It's not gonna go over well. It's not gonna go over well. I mean, that's all I can say. All I can say is he gonna be getting ice grilling looks. I'm gonna be salty. I'm gonna be salty too, because I know how competitive I am, and if he's my brother, he's pretty much competitive too. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be like, man, don't even talk about it. I think it's gonna be like, you know what? Meet me in the backyard or a court, and we play 1-on-1, and let me just smash you. I'll smash him in 1-on-1.
Right.
I put it to you like this: if I was the brother that hit the shot, every time I see my brother, I'm talking hella crap.
I'm saying. So that's why I wouldn't like it. That's why I wouldn't like it
time.
at all. I'd be like, yo, man, you have to meet me at this court. If not, I'm like Ken. If not, you have to see these hands, like something.
You know what, man? I'm 3 years older than my brother. I would like to believe that I would be, real low key about it, but I wouldn't. If I was the one to hit the shot, nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't throw it up in his face every day or anything like that. But nah. Any disagreements, I'd be like, my mom would be like, hey, you gotta wash the dishes. Nah, why should I wash the dishes? I hit the game-winning shot. Make him wash the dishes. He's the one that lost. So yeah, and if my little brother hit the shot over and I lost, it'd be problems in our house, man. It'd be problems. We have to move some furniture or something, man. We would definitely have to rumble. So yeah, that was that. One last note about the national championship game from last night. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the Villanova Wildcats were not the only winners from last night. We had a Dead End Sports bracket challenge. Since you got a comment on it, Kenneth, who do you think won the Dead End Sports bracket challenge? Why don't you tell the people?
Man, once Michigan State went out, I didn't even check them damn brackets.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even care who won.
Yeah.
For those of you scoring at home, I won. So
But somebody hit us up on Twitter about it.
Yeah, I sent the tweet last night. I mean, like as soon as he hit the shot, I was like, yeah, I won too. So yeah, it feels good. Probably the first time that we get back together and we do, our video shoots for Dead End Sports, I'll probably have on a game-winning T-shirt or something like that, something to commemorate the event. Dead End Sports Championship T-shirt. It might be me shooting a shot with Ken and B and FIFO with the Jordan cry face meme on the shirt. I don't know yet. I'm just working on some ideas. Well, not FIFO because FIFO didn't participate, but nonetheless, shout out to everybody who played, all of you who came in second place. If you're not first, you're last. Quoted by the great Ricky Bobby. So it feels good to win.
UNC needs some more dark-skinned players on their team. It was light-skinned.
Hey, it ain't no dark-skinned people on that team, man.
Chofu, man, Bryce Johnson. Hey, FIFO, that's what it was. Bryce Johnson saw Chofu coming down.
Chofu, that dude looked like he looked like he's older than LeBron. I mean, you guys are right. They have some old-looking guys on their team. Let's move over to the NBA, man. A lot of stuff popping off. Of course, the NBA playoffs right around the corner. We're gonna have that, wall-to-wall coverage between us and our partners off the bench. But my man, Scottie Pippen was in the news the other day. Reporter asked Scottie Pippen a question, and Scottie Pippen, being Scottie Pippen, answered the question as the best way he saw fit. They asked Scottie Pippen if his 95-96 Bulls team, the team that went 72-10 and won the NBA Finals, if they played against this year's Warriors in a final series, who would win and in how many games? And Scottie, being Scottie, with a straight face, well, actually smiled. He said the Bulls would win, which you expect him to say the Bulls would win, but he said the Bulls would sweep the Warriors.
Oh, my God.
So this is a team that is on the verge and is probably going to break the Bulls' record because I think they've got to win the next 5 games, I think, as of the time of this recording. But Scottie says that they would not just beat the Golden State Warriors, but they would, smoke them pretty much. So, B, I know you, Detroit representative, Detroit versus everybody. Your bad boys went up against Scottie Pippen, took him out a couple of times. All biases aside, B, if and I guess we have to kind of explain which rules we're playing with.
Right, because you got to factor that in too, and it's just like.
They said these rules. They said in 2016 rules.
Okay, so let's play by 2016's rules. So B, if you got 2016's rules, you got Chicago, you got Golden State for 2016. Who wins and why?
Well, for one, probably Chicago, because I think Jordan would probably score like 70 points in today's. So that'll cancel out whatever Stephen Curry is scoring. Jordan to cancel that out. He'll probably cancel out him and Klay Thompson put together. He'll score like about 70.
Chill, B. Chill, B.
I'm just saying,
You sound like Kenny Rod talking about 82-0.
You said what again?
I said you.
I'm not literally saying he scored 70, but Jordan scored a lot of points. The way they call ticky-tack fouls in today's league, oh yeah, he'll go to the line a lot. And who's gonna stop that turnaround? Like who?
Average 40 something in the series, like what 44, 45 in the series one?
Yeah.
You said what?
No, I was just saying to your point, B. He averaged what 44, 45?
Yeah. Back and when the game was a lot physical and when you can hand check. So yeah, Jordan would go off. So a sweep. I mean, I wouldn't say sweep. I would still give Warriors, I say 6 games. If it was a championship game, we all know Jordan don't like to go 7 games. So
he's never been 7 games.
I say
in the finals.
He'll take him out. He'll take him out in 6 games, but no, you're not gonna sweep him. I mean, you can't really stop what Curry's gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like if Curry gonna shoot them threes, he's gonna shoot them threes. And then for him to say he's gonna shut him down, you can't shut players down. You can maybe contain Curry. Curry may go 5 for maybe 15 from behind the arc or whatever, but you're not gonna shut him down. Like for you to say I'm gonna shut him down, come on, Pippen, like stop it. You're being with today's rules too. Stop it, Pippen. Like no, like you're not. No, they'll probably beat him in today's rules, but you're not gonna sweep them. Sweep them? You tell me they're not gonna get 1 game? The way they be killing fools at home? Like come on, like no. Pippen was tripping on that, man. Like no way the Bulls the 72 Bulls will sweep this might be 73 win Warriors. I just don't see that happening at all.
And what about you, FIFO?
Man, look, I expect Scottie to say everything he said. I expect him to say sweep.
Right.
I expect him to say they're going to win.
Right.
Watch both of these squads. This will be Jordan's first 7-game series, and I'm taking the Bulls. Because what Steph is doing, you ain't never seen that. Just like we ain't never seen MJ. You ain't never seen what Steph is doing. And to me, Steph and MJ cancel each other out from a scoring perspective. Pippen is probably one of the best defenders that you could ever put on Steph Curry to try to control what Steph Curry does. But when the man shoots from 40-45, ain't no defense for that. The man shoots from the logo, and I'm talking about the half-court logo, consistently with a regular jump shot. There's nothing you can do to shut that down. On the other side of things, I think that the Bulls have 2 guys that can contend with Draymond, and Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman.
Right.
So when you have, to me, the key to beat the Warriors is not Steph Curry, because it's ridiculous what the man does. Just like, what are you going to do? Shut down Jordan? No, you're not going to do jack with that. You got to make sure Jordan isn't making plays. You got to make sure Scottie Pippen ain't out here getting you 25, 30 points. You got to make sure all of that. So all that being said, I'm taking the Bulls in 7 because they have the arsenal to slow down a Draymond or put a complete halt to that, to slow that down. And everything else, like B said, in terms of Jordan even scoring more points because they would be in the bonus a lot quicker with these ticky-tack fouls.
Right.
But I'm taking the Bulls in 7. This will be Jordan. That would be Jordan's first 7-game series.
What about you? What about you,
people? I didn't hear. What was the last part you said?
I said the Bulls in 7. That would be the first time Jordan would play in a 7th game.
Okay.
What about you, Ken?
Now y'all know good and damn well Jordan is not going 7 games with the light-skinned Warriors. It's not
but they ain't sweeping them though, Ken. They ain't sweeping them though.
I think they could.
Hey, I'm about to hang up.
Hey, Ken, I'm with you with the Jordan not going 7. I'm with you on that, but I don't think they're going.
It's not going 6, B. The Warriors. It may be a gentleman's sweep. I'll give the Warriors, just so I won't be a hater tonight, Cheryl. I'll give the Warriors 1 game. I think the Bulls may take a game off, but It's not going 6. It's not going 7.
Man, you tripping, Ken.
Pippen. I'm with B. He may not shut him down, but he'll definitely slow him down, and that's all you need to do. And if you have Rodman and Kukoc who can impact Draymond Green's impact on the game, how are they going to get to 7, Ralph? How are they going to get to 7 if Draymond Green can't do what Draymond Green things? And if Curry is slowed down? Klay Thompson comes to the rescue?
Because
Klay Thompson shut down Jordan? Oh,
no.
Oh, wait.
No. Nobody shuts down Jordan. Not even Gerald Wilkins. Asked him, and they called him
the Jordan stopper. Right.
Look, what I think would happen is Pippen is the best matchup for Steph, but Steph is gonna doo-doo all over that man, just like he did Kawhi. Just like there is no, and you bet not put Jordan on him, cause he'll shake the crap and shoot all over Jordan's face too. Don't look at me like that, because ask AI, ask Jordan about AI, ask him about that. Jordan is a great defender, but Jordan, just like most great defenders, guys that have great hesitation move, you can't stop those point guard. You can't stop CP. Those guys are going to get what they want. And when you are on automatic skates beyond half court with Steph, he is going to do whatever he wants to do. Especially we're talking about concentrated, focused 7 game. I know what you have. Man, there is nothing you're going to do with Steph just the same way there's nothing you're going to do with MJ. Draymond will be impacted, and Klay is going to have his spurts. They don't need him in a whole game. They don't need him to dominate. They need him to have 2 or 3 spurts in a game to get their runs, and then the matchup that we're not talking about for Jordan is Iguodala. That's the matchup. That's the matchup. The Warriors are way deeper than any Bulls team. So that's another factor you have to factor into. Because the Bulls are always 6 or 7 deep, max.
That's all they needed.
No, I feel you, but how many times did they play against a team that was 10 or 11 deep? I'll wait.
It didn't matter.
All right, Ken.
Well, no.
I
would say that they probably played against deeper teams on a night-to-night basis. Maybe not in
the 7-game series. Not like Golden State. Not deep like Golden State.
But the players hold
on. Let me get that point. FIFO, so you're basically saying that the NBA's teams are deeper now than they were back in.
I'm saying Golden State is deeper than almost any team that Jordan played in the playoffs. Outside of Detroit, outside of maybe
because that 90s Detroit team was crazy.
Yeah, and then New York, obviously, in the East. But every other team he played against, them boys was 6 or 7 deep, man. Indiana, all of them other
I think the Bulls would win probably in 5, maybe 6.
Rip it. Y'all
and here's why. I think
in today's rules though, right?
In today's rules, in today's rules, I think they would have a hard time staying in front of Jordan and Pippen. I think that was just,
So you're saying that these rules would give an advantage to the Bulls?
No question.
I think the old rules give a bigger advantage to the Bulls.
Well, here's the thing: the Bulls were able to set records and set this record, and then Jordan was able to score at such a high clip with those rules that necessarily confined them. Without the confinements of it, he's gonna go like B said. He literally could average 45.
But here's the thing, though. To me, the biggest difference between then and now is primarily physicality, right? That's the only difference. So to me, that gives an advantage to the Bulls, because now you can beat up a Steph. Now you'd be like, hey,
trust me, they would
elbow tonight.
They would, and then another thing too, I think what gets kind of lost in this is that, and I mentioned it in the chat room, is that a lot, and FIFO, you growing up in Chicago.
Hey, I just saw the funniest comment in the damn chat. AJ said FIFO is a prisoner of his own skin tone. That's great.
That's cold, man.
It is great.
So I think the Bulls won a lot of games just based off the intimidation factor. They had you beat mentally, and then a guy, and B, from Rodman being there in Detroit, a guy like Rodman would frustrate the hell out. If you don't believe me, I mean, I know Dennis Rodman, if you look at him now, he's a sideshow. I get it.
He was a sideshow in the league.
Yeah, but not only was he a talented rebounder, but he was just an agitator. Like, he would get you out your game. And
he shut down Shaq.
Exactly.
I have never seen it happen.
Exactly.
He shut him down.
And Dennis Rodman is a guy who could, at any given moment, guard a guy like Shaq and then come guard a point guard. I mean, like, ultimately. I mean, like, and he guarded the wings. And he was, I think he was just an agitator. And then I think ultimately, and I'm assuming that we're going to remove Steve Kerr from the team since he would be coaching this hypothetical situation. But, I mean, Phil Jackson. I would give the Warriors probably a game at home. Maybe 2, but it will. I mean, 2. I think a 6-game series is a stretch, to be honest.
Y'all are tripping.
Right.
Y'all are tripping. I'm gonna mention one word: pace. The Bulls played at a slower pace.
They did.
Like
San
Antonio does.
They did.
If Golden State controls pace, or they have the spurt ability, and I'm talking about more than like 60 seconds or 90 seconds, if they have a spurt of 5-6 minute runs. What the hell are y'all talking about 5 games? What are y'all not watching what we're witnessing right now? Are y'all just not? Are y'all just so over infatuated with what the Bulls were able to accomplish that you're diminishing what the Warriors are able to do right now?
Because they're doing it against a cupcake league. Well, that's why.
I'm not gonna crap on the league, unlike my good friend Ken here, but I think
I am.
I think part of the issue, man, is just and again, I full disclosure, I was a Bulls fan growing up, but I'm removing my bias. I just think like it's hard to, and obviously it'll never happen. But I think if you look at if we're going by today's rules, I just think you're going to have a hard time stopping them from scoring. Now, Golden State still is going to score at their clip, but I think ultimately in Jordan and Pippen, we've never seen wing defenders like that in this league where they literally just – and keep in mind, Ron Harper was on that team too. Ron Harper was a very good defender even that particular year. So you got Pippen, you got Jordan, and you got Harper. You bring your Kukoc off the bench. I mean, the Warriors are deep. Don't get me wrong. And they will go down, obviously, as one of the greatest teams in NBA history if this trajectory continues. But I would give the edge to the Bulls.
Here's the thing: even if the Warriors don't win 73, they are one of the greatest teams because they're probably going to be the second team to win 70 games.
Right.
Because they're going for that tonight against the Timberwolves and back-to-back champions. So what I hear from especially the 2 oldest cats here is that you guys are over-sensationalizing and overhyping what the Bulls were compared to what the Warriors are. Now, I agree that the Bulls would win. So I'm not delusional to at least for my eyes and what I was able to witness as the greatest basketball player, and I think the greatest team to ever play. I want to get that out the way. But at the same time, how you guys are just dismissing and disrespecting the real MVP of the 2016 and last year's NBA. Like, you guys are just highly disrespectful, and I cannot take the level of disrespect amongst the Golden State Warriors because they are amongst the top 5, maybe top 10 greatest teams to ever play in the league.
Okay, so let me
disrespect them like that.
So let me hold up. So let me fill you in on something. Let me go old school with you. Okay, so when the Bulls went 72-10, ultimately that season they finished 87-100. So they only had, and that's including the playoffs, so they only lost 13 games. Do you know that a lot of basketball purists still did not consider the Bulls to be the greatest team ever? They considered the 88 Lakers to be the greatest team ever.
So, and that Celtics team, Kyle.
And that 85 Celtics
86.
team as well. 80, you right, B. 86 Celtics team. So my thing is this. If you're going to rank the Warriors, the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Bulls, I mean, the Warriors they don't stack up again. Trust me when I tell you, that Celtics team would have run them out the gym. would have crushed them.
I wouldn't say run them out the gym.
That's what I'm saying.
The Lakers would have Showtime Lakers. The Showtime Lakers against the Warriors. They would have run them out the gym.
Look, Cop. Let's go back to simple arithmetic. Let's just go back to that. If we're trading threes for twos, who you think is gonna come out winning?
Yeah, but you're not getting up a lot of threes though.
What do you? Whoa!
If we going by today's
rules, I don't know. I don't know.
You're not saying another word until I get this point across.
Go ahead.
Steph Curry is on pace to hit 400 threes, which is more than half the teams in the NBA, which is more than any team back then. What are y'all talking about?
But you got to go back to what Ken just said. He said a watered down league.
Y'all some crazy old men. we at least for me, I'm on to the next topic.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Look,
go ahead, Ken.
All right. So we are taking Jordan and removing him from a hand check league where they could literally get
I made that point. I made that point already, Ken.
Yeah, I know, V. So it's average 45. And
Ken, we are not talking about the Bulls beating the Warriors because all four of us said the Bulls will beat the Warriors. So that's not the topic of discussion anymore.
That. The fact
so what are we talking about?
It's going 7. If Jordan can put up 45 against a hand-check, physical-ass deep team, if we're removing the constraints of that and giving him the freedom to run, what the hell do you think he's going to do?
Exactly.
Who's going to stop him? Klay Thompson? No. Curry don't play any defense. He's not going to stop him.
He does play defense. So don't disrespect. He's not a shutdown defender. There's different levels. There's different levels of everything on the court. There's different levels of everything.
Nobody stopped Jordan.
He is a defender. Can nobody stop Curry? So what are we talking here? What are we talking here?
Pippen to slow Curry ass down.
What are we talking when you compare the numbers?
Curry is damn near one-trick pony.
A game in that 72-game win season.
He's a one-trick pony.
And Curry don't even play half of the fourth quarter. What are we talking about here?
Pony.
Come on.
All he does is stand around and shoot threes. If you can't get your shot off, what you gonna do?
He can get his shot off against anybody.
Pony. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Pippen's not gonna let him get that shot off, dog.
Ken, you know what? Look, these
are asinine statements.
These are asinine statements the same way you say let Curry score. You do not let the leading scorer score. He scores when the hell he wants to. You cannot stop him. He will pull up from the logo on your mouth. It don't matter. You do not allow Jordan to score. He scores when he wants to. These guys are
Jordan
exceptional.
can score more at will than Curry can.
You are crazy.
No, I'm not.
Hey, man. You know what?
Curry can't go in the post. His mid-range game is iffy. He's a one-trick pony. All he does is sit around and shoot threes from logo.
Look, Ken, you're trying to compare apples for apples. You can't do that. Jordan is a better overall player than Steph Curry will ever be. LeBron is a better overall player than Steph Curry will ever be. Steph Curry is one of the greatest scorers because of the three-point shot. If there was no three-point shot, guess what? He'd be average.
And that's why I said he's a one-trick pony.
Hey, we need Rod here.
You can't stop my trick.
Look, when Pippen catch him, when he's trying to come around those pick and rolls, because he needs pick and rolls to get his shot off, what are you gonna do then?
No, I am done.
Pippen's standing right there.
Hey man, let's move on to the next topic, and because we gonna keep arguing about this one. And this is something, man, Ken kind of alluded to a little earlier. I hate to talk about, the gossipy type stuff, man, because it's not really sports. It's sports, but it's not sports. I hate that TMZ, Real Housewives type stuff, because, I like my sports. I just like my sports. You deal with that other stuff and let it be what it is. We did not, unfortunately, we did not talk about the Nick Young, D'Angelo Russell saga from last week. As many of you know, Nick Young, a.k.a. Swaggy P, which a grown man called himself Swaggy P. I don't understand, but that's another story for another day. Nonetheless, Nick Young, Swaggy P, was recorded by his teammate D'Angelo Russell. He was admitting to some scandalous activities, and Nick Young, as you all know, is engaged to rap superstar. Rap superstar Nicki. I'm about to say Nicki Minaj. Iggy Azalea, the other bad rapper. So all of this gets recorded. Somehow ends up online. And the whole world finds out about it, as well as Iggy Azalea. As far as I know, up until this date, they're still in their engagement is still on. But D'Angelo Russell has been frozen out by his teammates. And he and Nick Young have, they're gonna have to work on some things to get it figured out. Byron Scott was asked about it, and he said, that they're gonna have to figure it out. We got a question that came in from our homegirl Cheryl, not necessarily about the situation, but as many of you know, Nick Young has been deactivated by the Lakers. Now, this actually happened a couple of weeks ago, but even before that, Nick Young had not been getting a lot of playing time. So here recently, he's not been playing at all. So just kind of figure this out. Now here, your teammate dimes you out, your old lady's mad at you, and you're not getting no burn. FIFO, man, what's your take on this whole Nick Young situation with D'Angelo Russell, and what you see maybe the Lakers can do to kind of help them fix it?
I think it's interesting that we live in a society where we are making the person that's cheating on his fiance the victim in the scenario. I think it says a lot to professional athletes in sports. Now, with that out the way, and I know we try not to cuss on Dead End Sports, so
go ahead.
Excuse my French. That's some fuck boy shit right there. That look, amongst dudes, there's some dudes that are just dogs out there. And when we're talking about professional athletes, it's probably 99.9% of them. Don't matter what your morality is, you let a man do what he does. It's none of your business.
Right.
If he divulges information that's between you and him, you can talk to your other homies about it. You can talk about your home girls about it. But you're not talking about nobody in that man's circle about what he told you. Those are just rules that are implied. What D'Angelo did is not welcomed, especially in the sports locker room. I get that. But he's the face of the franchise, right? You he's still going to be a Laker for the next 5 years, guaranteed. For the next 5 years, he's going to be a Laker. Nick Young is somebody, he's not the type of veteran that you put on a young roster. He's not a guy that's going to foster good habits. He's not just that. He's a 30-year-old man that calls himself, not given. Because if the name was given to you, that's a little different.
Right.
He gave himself Swaggy P. That's not the type of player you want around your young point guard. Look at what Washington did. What did they do? We got John Wall. Get this guy out of here. Nick Young takes bad shots. I'll put it to you like this. If his decision-making on the court is anything like it is off the court, you can't put him on the young team because he's the one that needs veterans to keep him in check. Kind of like a J.R. Smith. Have you heard anything about J.R. Smith? J.R. Smith is 5 3-pointers off the pace of Klay Thompson, which is the second 3-point shooter in the NBA. He has progressed and got better as a pro because he is in an environment that has more veterans there. The Lakers, where's Rod? Get Rod on the phone. Get Rod on the phone.
Because if you really want to hear some arguing.
The Lakers have not made no right moves for over half a decade. No right moves. And I was listening to Colin the other day. I think he was talking about the Lakers just in general, like late March. And everything he said, I said it before he said it. How you let Paul Gasol go and not get anything in return? And I know I'm going to bring it back.
Go ahead.
You don't get anything in return for Paul Gasol. You sign Kobe to a non-team friendly contract, right? You hire a coach in D'Antoni that didn't fit his play style. You hired Mike Brown before that, and then you don't hire Phil Jackson. these series of moves have all been a microcosm of what's happening now. What Jeannie Buss needs to do is clean house. The only 3 players that need to be on that roster, Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell, and Julius Randle. And that's it. All of these guys, swag, all of this stuff just needs to go. We will not remember this next season. This is hot for right now because we live in a social media age and because it is kind of jacked up. It is what it is. But yeah, next year we're not going to be talking about none of this right here.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Ken? Your take on Young being benched and this whole fallout with D'Angelo Russell?
Well, it looks like his decision-making off the court is just as atrocious as his game on the court. You know, D'Angelo, snitches get stitches, man. And I think that's kind of how I look at it. What he did was foul. And I hate that both of them are in the wrong. You know, and it's unfortunate that, you know, we're looking at what D'Angelo did, and he's being condemned. I'm with FIFO. I'm with Q when he said it, that we're condemning D'Angelo more than Nick Young. But part of that, the reason why is because of that unwritten code, that we stay out of people's business. And, you know, it's not our place to comment on somebody else's, you know, situation. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not in that household. We're not in their private affairs. And so, you know, I kind of get that. But, you know, the code exists for a reason, man. And I think you have situations like this, like that household is broken. Does she deserve? Did she need to know? Yeah, but was it D'Angelo's place to say
tell
something?
her exactly.
And was it? Did she deserve to find out like this? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we always grow up being taught when people are getting us the game, man. And that goes for male, that goes for female, that goes for everybody. You stay out of other people's business. And for him to sit up there and deliberately record the video and then for somehow the video to get out, like, this is not a prank that you need to play. It's just not. There are a lot of different pranks you can play. You can take a whoopee and put it in my chair or something like that, but you don't play with my household. And how
Ken, let me pause you right there though, real quick. Do you think you would have understood that at 19 though?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Now here's the thing. I think you understand the guy code, but I don't think that you understand staying out of people's business. Not in this era, bro. Like you grew up in the 40s, dog. Like it's way different. Like, bro, like think about it. D'Angelo Russell was almost born in 2000, man. He was almost born in 2000. It's a way, like, how he thinks is way different how you were thinking at 19. But
FIFO, if that's true, you gotta have an OG or someone there to the ropes. Because just like how you show your brothers, just like how you show your younger brothers the ropes, so they won't do that same stupid shit. Stupid stuff. Maybe he don't have someone to show him the ropes. You gotta have them OGs to step in and be like, look, nah, bro, you ain't supposed to do that. Like that's a no-no. Just like you were with your brothers.
Of course. I feel all that. But at the same time, Kobe did it, and Kobe was older than 19.
Yeah, but he ain't Kobe.
Kobe was hating though, low key. Not low key. Kobe was hating.
Kobe was hating, and then Kobe already had 3 rings. So like Ken said,
right, and at that point they weren't going to get rid of Kobe.
Yeah, winning cures everything. So Kobe was already 3 rings at that point when that happened.
Of course. But you know what? The only thing he has going for him, and the reason why the Lakers ain't gonna do nothing in terms of getting rid of he was the number 2 pick. He's too valuable right now. He's too valuable. They're not gonna happen with him. But Ken, back to your point. Look, 19 in this era of social media and all of that, I'm gonna just give him a little. I'm gonna chalk it up to being a bit too naive, but I think that this was calculated. I think in all honesty, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. It was wrong. It was wrong on both sides. I'm sorry.
It was wrong, man. And I'm looking at
that's guy code. That's man law 101, man. He ain't supposed to do no stuff.
Man. Somebody needs to be giving him that game, man, and they give D'Angelo that game. At least that's what it seems like.
Yep.
No, somebody need to be giving D'Angelo a blanket party. That's what they need to do. They need to whip his ass.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. No, he definitely should have gotten his ass whooped. And the fact that Nick Young didn't whoop his ass, is problematic to me too.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt, Ken. I would whip his ass every. I would whip his ass every day that we came to practice. Yep. Every day. Because here's the thing that people don't.
I wouldn't be allowed back at the stadium now.
Here's the thing people don't understand, and I think B alluded to it. One of the hardest things it is to do in life is to when you're in a relationship is to keep stuff private. Now we live in a social media era where everybody wants to put their business out there. I get it. I'm not one of those people, and neither of the three members on this panel here. But here's the thing, like some things need to be kept to self. So if I'm a knock Nick Young for anything, you're 30 years old, you should have been telling a 19-year-old your business. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, he said it in confidence, thinking that it wouldn't be repeated. See, like as a man, you shouldn't have to tell another man, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell nobody. If I got to tell you that, then I shouldn't be telling you whatever it is I'm about to tell you. That being said, he didn't expect that to get out. And it'd be different if Iggy Azalea found this out and she found it out through a girlfriend or something like that. She found it out when the world found out. So now she looks bad. Their relationship looks bad. Everybody's in their business. Nick Young don't want that. He wants to get married to this woman. Now he got to go sleep on the couch. Now he's got a crook in his neck. He can't even come to practice on time because his neck's hurting because he's been sleeping on the couch because she's giving him hell. And he still wants to marry her. And she's like, you want to marry me, but what you going to do when you marry me? You're going to be, when y'all go on these road trips. So it's a problem. And D'Angelo Russell can't take back what happened. But the only question I would ask him was like, what were you thinking? The minute that you decided to press record, what were you thinking? Regardless of whether or not you felt about what Nick Young did or did, you know what Nick Young does with whatever women that he does is his business. It ain't none of my business. It ain't none of our business. And at the end of the day, that's your teammate. That's supposed to be your brother. Basketball is such a tight, it's only 12, 15 guys on a team. And I'm not saying everybody's got to be buddy. Everybody's got to be best friends. Because I'm pretty sure LeBron don't hang out with the rest of the Cavs. But at the end of the day, they have a working relationship, and that relationship has to be cohesive if they're going to move forward. So you got to think, man. And he just didn't think. And the fact that Nick Young's been deactivated, that makes it even worse because now he's not playing and he's sleeping on the couch. He's messed up.
Well, you know what? And Nick Young made it everybody's business when you sitting there like you said, Kyle. You're bragging to a 19-year-old kid about your conquest.
Exactly.
So what kind of like man are you? Like how are you trying to educate him on how to be a professional?
No, it's Nick Young. It's someone that calls himself Swaggy.
Yeah, one thing you have to keep in mind is that a secret ain't a secret once you tell somebody. And
men messy as hell.
Yeah, and it's messy. And it's very messy. Very messy.
Messy, dog.
Very messy.
Yeah.
And again, it's unfortunate, and I don't even like talking about this stuff because it's not about sports, but it is about sports. But at the end of the day, the Lakers have a decision to make, and FIFO's right. D'Angelo Russell's the number 2 pick. He's not getting traded. He's not going anywhere. If anything, Nick Young won't be back next year. But, you've got a locker room full of young guys, and that kind of speaks to where the NBA is currently. We talked about the 80s and the 90s. You had the 10, 12, 11-year vet. You don't see those kind of vets on every team. Back in the day, there used to be a vet on just at least 2 or 3 vets that would help the rookies, kind of help them find their way and stuff like that. Nowadays, your vet is your guy that's been there 4 years or 5 years. So, is he necessarily going to steer the younger players in the right direction? The Lakers are, like people said, the Lakers are a mess. And unfortunately, unless they get the #1 pick, they might be a mess for a while.
Not necessarily. Look, man. The Lakers still have options. The Lakers still have options, man. It's just them hitting in free agency. But the Lakers are a mess, and it's not going to change until that front office changes. It's as simple as that. Until they change the front office,
yeah, I agree
it's
totally.
Be the same.
I agree totally.
Get stitches.
All right, man. Let's flip it over to football, man. Greg Hardy's back in the news. I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but Greg Hardy sat down and did an interview with ESPN's Adam Schefter. And in the interview, Greg Hardy had an admission. Greg Hardy, as many of you know, had a run-in, was arrested for domestic violence. We saw the pictures of his ex-girlfriend as she was beat up and thrown on a bed full of guns. Greg Hardy suffered, he actually went through a suspension, I should say, not suffered. But so he was suspended, subsequently landed with the Cowboys, had a couple of sideline blow-ups last year, was not retained by the Cowboys, and Greg Hardy is currently a free agent. Well, in this interview with Adam Schefter, Greg Hardy said, quote, "I never put my hands on a woman." B, if you're Greg Hardy, what is it? Why is he talking like this, and what is it that you think he's trying to accomplish?
Oh man, Greg Hardy. I don't know. Maybe he still want to get that NFL check, or I don't know what's going on with Greg Hardy. I don't know if he's feeling a little bit remorseful of his his actions or whatever. But man, just boy, he need to go to counseling or something. He need to talk to somebody, or somebody in this camp need to sit him down. Hey, look, Ken, we need to have another like OG.
Yeah, OG, right?
Yeah, OG need to talk to him or something, man. Because it's just like, dude, when I saw that, I'm like, dude, I be wondering like, who are these guys around? Like, who are you bringing? Who's in your circle? Whoever's in your circle, you need to kind of reevaluate who you have in your circle, because evidently it's not working out for you, or it's making you or causing you to make some not so well decisions. Now, granted, we all not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We all not perfect. Sometimes we're gonna make some silly decisions when you're young or whatever. But if you that's why you say learn from your mistakes. If you're not learning from your mistakes, then yes, either something you're not doing or the people around your circle is just cause you to like really, kind of mess up, keep effing up. And you got that just had to stop. So yeah, he just need to reevaluate who he has in his circle and start hopefully making better decisions, man. Because you're just making yourself look bad. It's gonna be to a point where they're gonna blackball him out the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've seen it before. We seen
no question.
In NFL. I mean, in all sports, NFL, basketball, baseball. At one point, once they don't like you, they're gonna blackball you. If you keep on doing, dumb mistakes, teams not gonna care about to try to pick you up anymore or try to give you that 10-day contract or whatever.
Ask Chad Ochocinco.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, man.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just like, just kind of sit back and reevaluate. And Jim Brown, I wish Jim Brown need to talk to a lot of these little young dudes, man. Just sit these guys down and show them the way how it should be done.
What about you, FIFA? What do you think ultimately is going to happen with this Greg Hardy? Because he can't afford to keep talking and doing interviews like this, can he?
No.
Hell no. I think B said it with the first thing he said. Greg Hardy, he got bills, man. He got big bills.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Them bills, cause my bill, and Kanye said it in the album. Don't come if you ain't a child, you got bills, and his bills are bigger than all of
Kanye got a lot of bills
together. He trying to get them checks, man. He's trying to clean the slate, and the thing is that the damage has been done. Own up to it, fess up to it. Be like, look, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what he does, but this right here, getting in the media is not gonna clear your name.
Right.
Staying out of the media is what's going to clear your name. Get on the field, perform, earn your paycheck, be quiet, talk about the team, be a good teammate, and be about your business. You don't need to go out here and try to exonerate your name. You already done damage. The only thing that's going to fix it is by zipping it up and performing and doing your job. You didn't do your job last year, bro. You didn't do that. Just shut the hell up and do what you get paid to do, and everybody will forget and forgive. These guys don't understand that.
Mm-hmm. I agree totally. What about you, Ken?
You muted, Ken.
Hold on, let me turn this TV down. Maybe Greg Hardy was talking literally. Maybe he was trying to get off on a technicality. You know? Maybe he was like, when he said, I didn't put my hands on a woman, maybe he was literally talking about his hands. But that's not saying that he didn't do anything else to harm or he didn't harm her any other way. You know, so that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe you picked up a broom and hit her with a broom or a stick or threw a shoe at her. You know, you didn't put your hands on her technically, but that still doesn't excuse you from what you did. But all in all, man, he doesn't need to come back. The NFL needs to continue to make this stand, and they need to teach him that he isn't worth it. That his actions, what he did, was foul, and that she's worth more than him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by leaving him where he's at, and hopefully this will serve as a lesson to the next person that wants to do something that they love, and when they're in a situation, they will excuse themselves and remove themselves from a situation, and instead of reacting emotionally and doing something that he will ultimately regret, and that would cause harm to somebody else. And this is a penalty that Greg Hardy has to pay.
Right. I agree 100%. I think it's I don't know who his PR people is, but he's not helping himself by making these kind of statements, in an interview. And I don't think it was necessarily softball questions, but I mean, you got Adam Schefter interviewing you. It's not like he had, Diane Sawyer or Barbara Walters or somebody like that, somebody who gets paid to interview people for a living. Greg Hardy's a joke, man. I mean, I don't have any respect for. I would have respected Greg Hardy more if he said, "Hey, I had a lapse in judgment. I did something that I regret. I'm trying to move forward." I would have respected that, but don't play in my intelligence to say you didn't hit that woman, bro. We saw the pictures. She didn't. What, the guns hit her? The guns, the bed, when you throw on the bed with the guns, is that what hit her? Nah, man. I mean, and I, to be honest, I don't think that he's going to land on a team.
Nope.
A lot of free agents have been picked up by now, and teams are formulating their rosters. And the fact that he's not on the team, I mean, unless somebody gets hurt in training camp or something like that, I don't see him playing next year. And so Greg Hardy's going to be on the street, so he's going to have to deal with whatever issues that he has upstairs. He's going to have to deal with that going forward. While on the subject of the NFL, our boy Colin Kaepernick is in the news again. Kaepernick, from what we understand, has been offered via trade to the Denver Broncos, but the trade has not been consummated because they want Colin Kaepernick to take a pay cut. Kaepernick's $16 million is all but guaranteed this season. Of course, if he gets traded, the 49ers off the hook. But he reported to the facility the other day on Monday, and just by reporting, he received, I want to say, like a $900,000 bonus check from the 49ers. Now, there's been a lot of speculation in the fact that because the trade has not gone through, that it still could possibly go through. But with Kaepernick, if he comes back to San Francisco, he'll obviously have a chance to work with Chip Kelly. Ken, How do you think this thing gonna play out? Do you think he's gonna end up in Denver, or do you think he's better off in San Francisco?
I honestly believe he's probably better off in San Francisco with Chip Kelly.
Okay.
He seems like the type of quarterback that Chip Kelly would like, mobile. He's not accurate at all, but Chip Kelly can do a lot of things with him. He had Mark Sanchez running around doing read options and stuff. So to get a guy like him for the offense that he likes to run, I think it would probably suit him, and he could kind of rebuild his name. You don't want to go to Denver, man. What are you going to go to Denver and play under John Elway? And John Elway could throw the ball and you can't throw the ball. What are you going to do? And I understand they have Mark Sanchez and Kaepernick is obviously more athletic and more talented than him. So with that defense, what defense they had, they probably felt that because they lost Malik Jackson and other guys, but they probably felt like they can win with him. It wasn't like Peyton Manning was the most accurate himself anyway. So you got a guy that's athletic who can make some throws. It might be able to work. Put him behind the defense, it might be able to work. But I think I would like to see what he does in Philly. I mean, in San Francisco.
Okay. What about you, B? Colin Kaepernick? How do you think this thing's going to play out? Do you think he ultimately stays in San Francisco, or do you think they finally make the deal go through and he goes to Denver?
He'd be better off. I think I agree with Ken. He'd be better off staying in San Francisco because, like, for one, I mean, why would you want to take a pay cut, especially of a sport like football where your money is not always guaranteed?
No, sir. Hustling backwards.
Why would you take the pay cut? You know what I mean? So I would just say he'd just be better off staying in San Francisco. Like Ken said, he got Chip Kelly over there. Chip Kelly is like, he likes to have, mobile running backs and stuff like that. So I say he stay in San Francisco.
What about you, FIFO?
Yeah, San Fran. I think that Chip Kelly needs Colin, and I think Colin needs Chip Kelly.
Okay.
In all honesty, because they're both in their careers, they're kind of rebuilding their images. And the thing is that Chip Kelly, his style of offense, suits Colin. And Colin's skill set is what Chip needs. So they really need each other. They might not like each other. Maybe Colin has some inside information. Maybe some of his homeboys that may have played in Philly had told him some things, or people that played under him. Maybe he doesn't even want to go that route. But let's be honest, based off of what we've seen and what Chip Kelly wants to do, Colin is the perfect fit for that type of system. So I definitely think stay in San Fran, especially great point that B made. Football money is not guaranteed, so why are you going to take the pay cut? You want to play football anyway, so why not play in a system that best suits your skill set?
Yeah, I agree, man. I think ultimately that's what's going to happen. I think Denver's crazy if they think he's going to take a pay cut. I mean, like, again, that's hustling backwards. You can't afford to lose money. I mean, NFL players, the money isn't guaranteed, so you need to get every penny that you're owed. I'm not so, and you guys know we talked about this before. I'm not sold on Kyle because I think he's regressed. But I'm interested to see what. I mean, he needs a fresh start. Chip Kelly needs a fresh start. I think I think Colin Kaepernick might be around longer in San Francisco than Chip Kelly will be, but we'll see. Before I forget, man, big shout out to the Uconn Husky women's basketball team. Just won their fourth consecutive national title. I mean, that's crazy. 82-51. Gino Auriemma. I think that's his 12th title, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
In a row.
It's crazy. And
it's a man.
I'm not much for women's basketball, but I definitely give them a tip to my hat because that's incredible. I don't care what level you're playing on.
UConn won?
Yeah, they won 82-51. Yeah, I think they beat Syracuse. I think the question was how much was they going to win, but I think it was pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Man, they could have played. They benched the whole game and beat them by double digits.
Yeah, man. So it was crazy. One other thing before we get out of here, they finally announced at least some of the they had announced it before as far as who was going to be the inductees, but it was made official yesterday. Most notably going into the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, Shaq, Allen Iverson, and your boy Yao Ming, and Cheryl Swoops, among others. So it got me to thinking about something. For me, and I've often said this, that Allen Iverson is my second favorite basketball player to watch. Like, Jordan was my first, but as far as when it came to watching basketball, he was probably my second. So I'm just throw a little bonus question out there. Tell me who was your favorite basketball player to watch, NBA, and then your second favorite basketball player to watch.
For me, it was those two guys that you just mentioned.
Okay.
And the reason being, I was born and pretty much raised for for a good part of my life in Chicago. I left when I was like 12, so I grew up watching MJ. That was MJ City, so hands down. And then once I started, really competing in basketball, I realized, okay, I'm not 6'6", bro. I can't do everything MJ do. So let me find a guy that has a skill set that I can emulate, that I can, actually use. And AI was that guy. I didn't have his crossover. I can't front, but I took that step back. You could ask B. You could ask. I got that step back though. So those two guys were definitely my two favorite at the time to watch, like hands down. Because even though AI wasn't the most efficient player, I think he led I think he has the rookie record for most turnovers per game and total turnovers as a rookie. And he shot, some seasons he shot in the 30s. Not the most efficient, but damn, he had the biggest heart.
Oh, yeah.
At least that I've ever watched, because it didn't matter, man, how many times he hit the ground, how many injuries he had. It did not matter. He was going to give you 100%, and he was going to leave it all out there because you just was not going to take it from him. And it probably stems from the situation he had getting, into college.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So he kind of had that in him where he knew this could be my last day in the NBA. So he played every single minute, every second. I think the only other player I see expend as much energy and leave everything on the court like that is Russell Westbrook. Every second is just energy, every moment. Man, AI, first ballot. It would have been a travesty if he wasn't. And just to go a little bit more on AI, I know I'm rambling.
No, go ahead.
NBA and hip hop and fashion in the NBA would not be where it's at if it was not for AI.
Yes, sir.
AI, and then I know he had this interview with Rachel Nichols. I didn't get to see the entire.
I didn't see it either. I heard it was good.
Yeah, I knew it was good because of the one question that they had on a commercial where I just remember his response where he was saying, I can only be Allen Iverson. I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to change for nobody. Like, when I die, you're going to be like, he didn't try to emulate nobody. And you could tell because the man is stuck in the 90s with the Mr. T chain, with the cornrows still. Like, he is Allen Iverson. He's unapologetic. And realistically, the best people or the greatest people in the world have always been that way. And he is by far one of the greatest, biggest hearted people to ever step foot on that court, man. That is one of my all-time favorite basketball players ever.
No doubt. What about you, B? Let me guess. Favorite basketball player is Isaiah Thomas, am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your second favorite?
Wait a minute. You said to watch, right?
Yeah, to watch.
Oh, Magic Johnson. I think, Magic Johnson was, man, like for me to see someone of his size and the way he handled and passed, Magic used to do some passes where I used to be like, what in the heck? Like, like, damn, like, what? So, yeah, I think it was definitely, even though as much as I hate the Lakers, that was a rivalry.
Right.
It's just like, but still respect game. You gotta respect game. But and seeing Magic do, he revolutionized the point guard position. You know what I'm saying? So to see him do what he was doing at 6'9" at his size was it was amazing. The way he used to just like have eyes in the back of his head, the side of his head, everything. Magic was definitely, much as I hated playing against him, he was definitely a joy to watch. You know what I'm saying? Out there smiling. He just be out there killing you with a smile on his face. Like, and you can tell he was literally having fun playing basketball every single night. And of course, Isaiah. I mean, before, I know we all, including myself, we all praise Iverson and everything. But you talk about someone that leaves it out on the court.
Yeah.
I mean, no one laid it out on the court more than Isaiah Thomas. Like, Isaiah Thomas was, I mean, even Iverson told him himself, like, yo, you are the reason why I go out every night and play as hard as I play is because of you, Isaiah. So Isaiah definitely laid the foundation. And seeing Isaiah, the way he played through anything with a freaking hamstring and go out and light you up for 25 points in one quarter, I mean, it's like amazing. Just amazing. So definitely Isaiah and Magic Johnson is like my two. And, people sleep. People sleep on how many times Magic Johnson played in the NBA Finals. Like, Magic Johnson was a winner. Like,
no question.
You left college, win the national championship. You come in your rookie season, led a team to win a championship because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar went out. You played damn near 5 positions, and then you go off to play, in 8 more NBA Finals. Like, that's pretty crazy, man. This dude, what was he? 5 for 4 in the NBA Finals. Yeah, so 5 because he won 5. So he was 5 out of 4 in the NBA Finals. That's pretty impressive, man. I mean, of course, in today's social media, if Magic played in the NBA Finals and won 5, people were still kind of bashing over NBA Finals though. How come How come you didn't win at least 8 of them? Like, it's just like, dog. And the tough defense that Magic played against back then, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, Magic and Isaiah are definitely my 2 favorite players I used to enjoy watching.
What about you, Ken?
They would jump on Larry Bird too because he only has 3.
Right.
That wouldn't be enough.
Yep.
Look, man, this is easy. Hakeem Olajuwon is number 1, easy, hands down. That man, look, man, you want to see somebody play the center position with grace.
Kareem underrated. What would you say? I'm sorry, Ken. I was just looking at the chat. Someone said Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is underrated as fuck. What?
Yeah.
What?
And of course the second best is Dwayne Wade. So Hakeem Olajuwon is number 1, and Dwayne Wade is my second favorite player to watch play the game.
For those of you listening at home, Ken and Dwayne Wade are best friends, so we kind of
Snapchat.
We kind of expected that answer. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's a good list, man. Yeah, again, Jordan and Iverson. Iverson, I mentioned in the chat room. Iverson, he played, and he lived by that motto. He would always quote himself. He'd say he played his game like it was his last. He played every game like it was his last. And I mean, I remember watching games where Larry Brown would take him out of the game, and he'd be mad because he didn't want to come out. He never wanted to come out of the game. He always played like that. And you knew I can only imagine a coach, like how Greg Popovich sits his players. I can only imagine somebody telling Iverson, hey, we're going to sit you out tonight. Nah, he probably fight you. He was just that big of a competitor. But congrats to everybody who made the Hall of Fame. I think the ceremonies will be this summer, so make sure that you're checking that out as well. That's going to do it for tonight. Before we get out of here, we got some parting shots. FIFO, hit us with your parting shot.
D'Angelo Russell.
Go ahead.
Homie, look, me and you share something in common. A couple things. You're a point guard, I'm a point guard. You like logic, I like logic. But you can't be a fuckboy, man. You can't. Hopefully this taught you something. Understand you are in a privileged position to be the number 2 overall pick in the NBA. You are playing for one of the 2 most glamorous franchises in the NBA. And you need to up your level of play, homie. If you didn't have enough motivation behind you before, this is gonna be a lot of motivation. And I hope you take on the challenge, because if you don't, it's gonna be very difficult for that franchise to turn it around.
No doubt. That's an in case you're watching.
Yeah, it is.
In case you're watching.
Yeah, I had to take that approach, man.
Beezy, what about you, man? Parting shot.
Oh man, Adrian Bronner.
Oh,
Like,
bro.
why,
Thank you.
why, why,
Oh man.
why are you calling out Floyd Mayweather? Like, why are you calling that man out? You wait till that man go retired. And you know what? I saw this coming. I saw that they little BFF thing was going to end eventually. You know, I knew it wasn't going to last that long. But Adrian Bronner, you need to focus on boxing. Like, focus on your craft. That's why Floyd Mayweather is as great as he is, because when Floyd Mayweather focused on his craft, Floyd Mayweather focused on his craft. If anyone, Adrian Bronner, you need to put the test and see if you can handle Terrence Crawford in that welterweight division, because Terrence Crawford is that deal. And you know, you losing to Sean Porter and what's my man name, Marcus Maidana. You need to focus on your career. Don't be worrying about calling out a retired boxer and Floyd Mayweather just because he said some things about you in an interview. You need to focus on your career. So you don't want those problems, AB. And unless you are focused, just as focused as Floyd, which you're not, you don't want those problems, AB. I think he's very talented. He's a very talented boxer when he's focused, but he's not focused the majority of the time. He didn't even make the weight of his last fight. He was like a half of a pound or a pound overweight. Like, then you had to be stripping your titles. You got to be focused, man. So just worry about your career, AB, and you need to worry about Terrence Crawford, because that's another guy that's making hella noise in the welterweight division. So I would like to see you challenge him, and if you take him out, then you can call out Floyd, because Terrence Crawford he's that deal.
No doubt. What about you, Ken?
First, shout out to the Sixers. I think they won tonight. I think I just saw that
Damn.
on the screen, man. Wow, I didn't
You
expect.
got a little bit of Villanova inspiration, man.
I guess so. Philly winning. But my parting shot tonight is for the Golden State Warriors. You're playing the lowly Wolves tonight. You're up at the time of this recording, 25-12. You should beat them. Should be easy. And you should have 70 wins. But if your asses were not playing April Fool's joke, you would already have 70 wins. And you were out there playing games and you got beat by the Celtics. You made Ryan's day. But y'all need to get it back together, man. Lock back in, get focused, quit playing around, and get ready for this championship run, because teams coming for you, man. Teams coming for you. So enjoy your 70 wins, but lock back in, man. Lock back in. Because right now, y'all can be got.
No doubt. My parting shot.
We're winning 4.
My parting shot, man. First and foremost, in case you missed it, we had a Dead End Sports Challenge. I won the challenge. I can't say that enough. I want to let everybody know that I only spent 5 minutes putting my bracket together. I did it 5 minutes before it was due to be turned in, so I didn't put any thought into it. You can say luck of the draw. I call it skills. So, you know, and I've had some questionable moments when we've shot videos on picking players. FIFO will tell you that. Shout out to Roy Hibbert. But as I thought about my prognostication and how I'm able to predict certain things, I thought about this upcoming video that we'll shoot some months from now on the top 5 NFL quarterbacks. I already know who my top 5. I pretty much know who my number 1 quarterback is in the NFL. I'll give you a hint. He does not play for New England. I cannot wait until the NFL football season starts. So just a memo to NFL players: get focused, get ready. This is going to be a crazy season. OTAs are right around the corner. The draft is right around the corner. The NBA season is winding down. The turn is going to be starting to talk towards about NFL. So I'm just looking forward to the season. Looking forward to the season. That's going to do it for us for this week. Once again, if you haven't done so already, make sure to just subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/Dead End Sports. Make sure that you follow us on all socials. Instagram, what else are we on? Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. We're everywhere. Make sure you support Dead End Hip Hop, Dead End Sports, and follow us on all socials. We will be around. So that's going to do it for us for this week. For Ken, for B, for FIFO. I'm your host, 12 Kyle. We'll holler at you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.